Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. And we have a full house here, so you know what that means. It's Elden Ring time, folks. As we have to have Jens Dietrich here, of course, to talk about a Soulsborne game. And joining us here once again, always awesome to have the Outerhaven, the head man over there, Keith Mitchell.
What's up, folks?
And of course, always with me here, Mr. Marc Morrison.
Howdy.
Well, I don't think we need to just delay this anymore. Let's just get into it because it's going to be the main topic, the main thing everybody wants to hear about. It's the game just came out a couple of days ago. For Keith, he's been playing it for a while on PC. So Keith, you reviewed the game for Outerhaven. You've been doing a gazillion videos. It seems like articles, everything else.
I'm tired. I don't understand how I did so many things. I'm tired. I'm literally tired.
I don't blame you. It's a lot. So, obviously spoiler free. How does this live up? Is it living up to all the hype of the greatest of all time reviews here? That
I think Elden Ring is a piece of crap. It's a broken game and not worth your time. That's what I would have said if I was a liar. But no, it's an amazing game. It literally is amazing on all aspects. Open world is fantastic. It's completely full of life. There's so many different things you can do. You can play with animals, kill the animals, run across random patrols, random boss fights, the sights and sounds of the game. Every region has its own characteristics. Nothing is repeated. It's an amazing game. The combat is just like I remember from Dark Souls, with a little bit of Sekiro and Bloodborne tossed in there. The combat is definitely a lot faster. I saw some people complaining that it was slow, and I'm like, we're not playing the same game because the combat is definitely a lot faster than any of the Dark Souls games has ever been. Especially if you're a caster. If you just play like you played in Dark Souls, you're going to die. It is a lot faster. The story is interesting. Of course, I expected it to be a little more concise because they kept saying, George is on this game and he's making the story better. And of course, he didn't really work on the story. He just worked on making the characters a little better. But that was it. It's still more Miyazaki than anything else. So it's still cryptic in some places. Like, I just completed this quest. Where do I go now? And you don't know. You just figure it out eventually. But yeah, I think this game is amazing. And for so many people to give this game the same score, it speaks for itself. It literally does. 10s and 5s and 9s across the board. I mean, even though the game is broken, there is some technical issues across all platforms. PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X has some issues. PC definitely has a lot of issues with stuttering. More so now with the 1.02 patch than before. When I was reviewing it, it was running better than it is right now.
Interesting.
So they broke it. Broke it. It was working okay. Not its worse. So, but I think the game lives up to its hype. It's definitely a worthwhile game. I would recommend it to anybody who likes action RPGs and even people who like Elder Scrolls. But the combat is immensely different. And if you're not used to Dark Souls, maybe skip it. I had somebody on Twitter ask me, "Is this game for casuals?" And I was like, "No, sorry, it's simply not. It is not." I was like, I was being honest. Like, I love spreading the praises of Souls-like games, but the beginning of the game is easy up until you get to the first boss, and it's like, yeah, that's a skill check. And if you can't get past the skill check, just stop. Just don't play anymore because it only gets worse from there.
What do you define as the first boss?
That is an interesting question.
Because the game is so open-ended that the first boss I faced was different from the ends.
Well, we killed a couple that presented like bosses. They had a fog door, they had a big health bar, but they didn't produce a trophy or really a meaningful artifact.
I got one trophy.
Okay, I have not gotten a single trophy yet. I've put a few hours.
Which boss did you kill first? Did you go to the south first and kill that castle, and then went up? I
think I went to the north, and I faced the cat boss, like a cat with a cape, or it was like a statue kind of.
Yeah, it was a gold, a cat golem that jumps around. It was actually a very comically designed.
Oh, you went to the dungeons. You went to the
dungeons.
Yeah,
we've been doing some dungeons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I went to the castle. I did the dungeon first, and then I went to the castle. And
I've done multiple dungeons.
The castle, like I killed the boss there, this soldier guy, and that gave me a trophy. So
okay, yeah, I haven't done that.
I actually went to the south first. There's another castle down there that you.
Interesting.
One of the NPCs says, "Hey, could you please go liberate my castle to that extent?" And you go down there, and there's a whole complete different boss and everything down there. It's not a main boss, but it is a boss, Fog Gate and all that. And then you go to Stormvale. But I would say that boss is skill check too. But even if you manage to beat the main boss, the progression boss, we'll call it that, when you start getting to mid-tier stuff, it just gets ridiculous. And I mean, there are parts of the game I was literally taking my controller and I wanted to slam it to the ground. I was getting pissed off at some of the mechanics.
I feel that with every Souls game, but so far, and again, this is just speaking from the perspective of the first few hours, this feels like the chillest Souls game I've played. Just because the challenge is more spread out.
Where's the furthest you've gotten so far?
As I said, I've been doing mostly kind of little dungeons, just grinding some levels here and there.
We'll have to talk after you get a little further.
Okay.
See if you still feel the same way.
So, the opening feels very relaxed compared to how a Souls game usually opens.
Unless you hit Valor, and then you go, why did I do that?
Okay. But I have made note of just like all these little design improvements that I really appreciate from previous games. Like, and even just things, everybody loves to compare this to Breath of the Wild.
I don't know why.
I can see it somewhat from the open world aspect and the world design, but there are so many choices on Breath of the Wild where Nintendo zigged and this game zagged. And, things like you don't use stamina unless in combat. That's a great design decision.
Yeah.
New mechanics like when you kill a whole group of enemy, it refreshes your Estus. That's a brilliant idea.
It doesn't always work though. It kind of bothers me.
Okay.
It changes up in later games. It's really weird.
Interesting. Well, so far all that stuff, it just feels like there's all these little iterations that they've made, partially just because they need to accommodate the open world design. But then they just feel like big, like all these little quality of life things add up. Even early
it's
on.
amazing. I when I was talking to, and I even said in my review, I say when I was playing it for a while, it felt like I was playing like an MMO or something. It didn't seem like I was playing Elder Rings or if I was playing like a Soulsborne game. It didn't feel like it after a while. It's just From Software, and this is amazing that this is their first stab at an open world game, and they nailed it. It's kind of scary actually, because it's like, where do you go from here?
Right.
We can't go backwards. It's like, I don't want to play Dark Souls anymore. Yeah, please. That'd be
awesome. Yeah. Oh,
but I don't want to play Dark Souls anymore. I'm done. I can't go back now. This is it. Thank you.
There's always Bloodborne too.
Yeah, it's never going to happen. Pretty
I
sure they
say
said
never.
I'm pretty sure they said they were like done. Does anybody even remember Kingsfield outside of the hardcore audience?
No.
I mean, I've watched Let's Plays of it. I've never played one myself.
Let's be honest. From Software only became popular because of Demon Souls. So
yeah, that is true. Those put them on the map, and even then, it almost didn't.
So, Mark, you've played some, and you've been playing a mage character, so you've been doing easy.
I'm like 3 hours in. Also, mage is the way to go in those games.
Well, this time seems like they actually are effective this time.
Well, like I got 2 spells. One is that little like pea shooter thing, but I can like rapid fire it now if I just keep pressing the button. It just takes stamina as well. And then I have this like horizontal flash kick looking thing that can go through enemies. So I get a bunch of enemies grouped together, and then I use that, and it takes off like half their health, which is fun.
That does seem pretty good. How's it been against? Have you just been able to poke at bosses from afar like we like to do?
Yeah, more or less. Like I almost took out that first boss. I got health on like 3/4.
Oh, cool.
Like done.
They kind of restricted that class. Your spells aren't full range anymore. You have to be in a certain distance.
Well, that was in Demon Souls also.
Yeah, they make sure that you can't just sit back all the way. And
right.
there are more magic resistant bosses in this game. A lot of them. So
okay.
Make sure you work on some strength or dexterity as well.
So you're saying this is not a? Are you saying this game is less friendly to min-maxing?
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know.
Because I'm playing a mage.
Yeah, I'm definitely a min-maxer. You know, I usually focus on 2 stats.
There was a boss that I couldn't get past. So I had to go back and respect.
Interesting.
Just
is there an easy way of respecing a character partway through?
No.
No, start it over.
You have to beat a boss, and then you have to find a specific item in order to respect.
Ah, okay. That's a drop chance, basically.
No, it's there are specific locations you have to go to get these items.
Okay.
I mean, we can drop spoilers, right? It's an item. We drop the name of the item, right?
Yeah, I don't think of that as a spoiler. I mean, I guess that's a spoiler for some people.
I mean, yeah, it's everywhere. It's called the larval tier.
Mm-hmm.
It's you need it after you beat the. Is she a second major boss? Second major boss.
Mm-hmm.
The only boss I've beaten aside from the cat thing was called Margit, the Fell Omen.
Mm-hmm. So that's the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a trophy out of that, so I don't know why you didn't get it yet.
Well, I haven't fought her yet, or him. Whatever. Margit sounds like a woman's name. Sorry, I didn't mean to misgender the Fell Omen.
It's like boil-looking dude.
Okay.
But you can summon an NPC to help you out, which is fun.
That name's, I mean, that's just, all I know is that's the second track on the soundtrack album. So I assumed it was probably the first boss.
So is there, as you guys, are veterans of the genre, is there anything new with Elden Ring that isn't necessarily in the other games?
Yeah, jumping, a mount. Yeah, there's definitely fantastic. A lot.
I keep forgetting about the jump half the time. I'm fighting like, oh yeah, I can jump now.
It's so satisfying to summon the mount.
Yeah,
I haven't done it yet.
Oh, it's great.
I haven't. I just haven't done it.
The summons are so great, especially when you're fighting a boss and you've leveled them up. They are so helpful.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I just found the crypt where it was like starting to tell me about summons, though I haven't figured out what to actually do about it.
You put it in your quick slot.
A place that demanded a gesture, and I did not know what none of the gestures I had worked. So it's probably like a gesture I have to learn by looking at a statue or some shit like in the old games.
I think this game actually feels a lot better control wise. Like it's not as laggy or slow as the other games.
I mean, I've never thought of them as being laggy or slow.
But yeah, you're a fan of them, so of course you wouldn't.
I would agree. It does feel more like Bloodborne than the other ones. Especially, I'm playing a warrior, which is the fast dual wield class, and he's got like his heavy attack or her heavy attack is like this big whirlwind type slash, and it is really neat. And that one is a bit of a wind up, but then you've got the regular attack for when you need to be fast. So it seems like you've got more options out of the gate with these starting classes, whereas in other Souls games or Bloodborne, it seems like you gotta kind of suffer through it a little bit until you find the right equipment that works for you. Whereas this has some really good starting gear as well.
You literally can take an item because of the system and use it the entire game if you want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Like the wooden catalyst in Demon's Souls.
So you guys are playing on PS5, I'd imagine, then?
Yeah, no problems. Yeah. Okay. I've not seen any bugginess so far, but again, pretty early. I hear bad things about the PC version.
Yeah,
it's not surprising considering their history with the PC versions.
You would think that they've got better. Their best one was Dark Souls 2, and Dark Souls 3 had a very bad launch, and eventually they got around to fix it, but it took a while. And
2 needed some frame rate modding to really work well on PC.
And then Elden Ring comes out and it goes, "What happened, guys? I mean, there's literally nothing here. It's like the options you had in Dark Souls 2, you had in Dark Souls 3. Hey, guess what? You got them in Elden Ring as well. They literally did nothing at all.
That's unfortunate.
So, yeah, and the stuttering, like I said before, it was okay. And then the new patch came out and it's like 2 to 3 second stuttering at times. Some people it's even worse. It's there's a lot of people complaining about this and getting frustrated with it. Like especially on Reset Era, people were going, "Well, these people that gave this game like perfect scores obviously didn't do a good job." And it's like a game can be a good game outside of small technical issues. The problem that we're having with this is because it's on the PC, you could have stuttering for 3 or 4 seconds. I could have like short micro stutters. It depends on the hardware, and there's just so many variables that are happening right now. So it's really frustrating because
Yeah,
people are
plus
just
a
getting
lot of
excited.
times they'll tell you, "Oh, this stuff's gonna get patched out on day one, so don't worry about it right now."
From doesn't have the greatest track record with that on
Yeah.
PC. Like
No.
they
Right.
take a long time with fixes, if at all, or the community does it for them.
Yeah, but the problem that we have right now is they're now using easy anti-cheats, so I don't know. Like flawless widescreen or flawless ultra wide came out for fix for the ultra wide, but they tell you, hey, look, this might get you banned. Use it if you want. And it's like, well, I don't know about that. I kind of want my ultra widescreen ratio, but at the same time, I don't want to get banned, especially after I've got like 120 something hours in this game. No, I don't. No, thank you.
Just download a cracked version.
Wow, you've already spent 120 hours in the game? Goodness.
But remember, I was doing guides and videos and on top
Oh,
of
yeah.
my actual progression and then helping people. I need help. Okay, fine.
Speaking of helping, sorry, Mark. Yeah, actually, I was about to talk about that a little bit because I did note a little change from how I'm used to it working in Souls normally, which is you now, instead of having to be, there's not really a concept of humanity anymore, which on the one hand is a good thing because, you know, your health doesn't get reduced and all that stuff. But it seems like now there's a one-time use item that is a reward for doing cooperative multiplayer that you need to pop every time that you want to reveal. They call it reveal signs. Basically,
you actually can make that too. You can craft those yourself eventually.
Oh, crafting. Yeah, I know. I mean, I obviously ran into the crafting mechanics some, and I've bought some recipes, but I've not really made anything yet. How craftable is that?
It's pretty easy. Pretty easy.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I would really
say, I would say that you should pay attention to the crafting system because unlike we'll use Dark Souls as an example when you can buy stuff from the vendor and whatnot, like the bulbs and whatnot, you really can't buy those from vendors or you don't get them very much from rewards. You'll find some in the world, but you mainly need to craft everything.
Oh, that's better than Stones of Ephemeral Eyes, which are basically just a limited item in the game. You know, of which there's a finite amount that you can find per playthrough. So
that's kind of like the larval tears that you need in the game. There's a handful of them on specific locations.
Gotcha.
But
I'm glad they didn't do
like
that for them.
Times.
Cool. So you earn one every time, and you can craft them. That's going to help because I know we're going to be burning through those. Trying to do boss runs. If they get as hard as you say.
Oh yeah.
Would you say they're the hardest Souls bosses in the series?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Wow. Okay. How do they rank relative to Neo 2?
Really don't want to start spoiling things here now.
Okay.
I really don't want to start spoiling things.
I don't know. Is that a spoiler? Relative difficulty? Okay. Neo 2 is the Souls game that has kicked my ass the most, so that's why
I thought Neo 2 was kind of easy.
Really? I thought the first one was much easier and more enjoyable. But
it was, but it was learning the system. I just think that Neo 2 just takes a bunch of stuff that you learned in the first one, adds onto it, and goes, here you go, at the first start of the game. Here you go, bye. I assumed you played the first one.
I beat both of them. The second one was a pain in the ass.
But once you get the ability to turn into, I don't want to say demon. That's not the correct word.
Mm-hmm.
What's the word I'm looking for? The yokai.
Yeah.
It becomes a lot easier.
Transformations. Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes a lot easier.
Sure. Yeah, you can level those pretty crazy if you grind right. Sorry, Neo 2. Okay, you don't want to talk about the bosses. That's cool. I don't want to know about the nature. I don't want to know about the nature of the bosses. But yeah.
Like I mean, you can talk about how hard something is without like describing what the boss
that's
is.
what I mean. Like, don't tell me. We've already talked about the like looks like an Egyptian stone cat that hops around. You know, that's the first thing we fought. That's I guess the minorest of boss.
Yeah, those
are
minor.
I don't want that
here we
kind
go.
of detail. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about. Okay, so you've played Dark Souls 2 and you fought the gang brother, the gang squad.
Yes.
There's a lot more of that in there, but it's only two people, and they're a lot harder.
Okay. Yeah, gang squads. I'm not a huge fan
Yeah,
of those.
there's a lot of parrot bosses in this game.
Okay.
A lot.
Cool.
You've got some bosses that have some really weird mechanics, and every boss now has 2 phases. They took that from Dark Souls 3, and I think some from Bloodborne, where you get 50%. It's like, all right, I'm changing up tactics. Sorry. Or you'll have some bosses where you take down an entire health bar, and it comes out and goes, oh, hey, this is my final form now. Good luck. And you're like, wait, what? And the boss takes up the entire screen, and it can hit you across the screen while shooting fireballs in your face while the ground's erupting at the same time. Have fun.
Yeah, okay. Multiple health bars. That is a bit of a spoiler.
Yeah, there's a lot of bosses that are like, so you really thought you beat me. Sorry, that you didn't.
Okay. I don't usually expect that from a Souls boss. Most Souls bosses, you can trust that the health bar is going to accurately reflect how dead they are going to be.
I ran into a boss today where I got him down halfway, and I think I had him, and it wasn't a major boss. It was a minor boss. And the boss started healing itself. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. Okay, I mean, that I have seen...
So you're not supposed to heal. What are you doing?
We've had bosses heal themselves. I can't think of a specific example right now. Anyway, yeah, that sounds crazy.
I think what I'm going to have to do is start playing the PlayStation or Xbox version, just so I can start playing with some other people who haven't gotten far. I just don't want to do it. My character's got all this cool stuff. I don't want to do it again.
But have you tried other, so you've just done this one class, or how much have you tried?
I've tried the samurai. I've tried what is that class called? You know what? Let me bring up the classes because I forget their names.
Vagabond, warrior, samurai.
I tried the vagabond at first. Didn't really like it. I did the Let me just bring.
Let me ask this: Are the bloodstains working on PC?
Yes.
Okay, because they're not on my PS5 version at all.
Wait, what? Really?
I click the button and nothing happens. I'm like,
yeah, I was wondering I wasn't sure if it was broken or if if it just wasn't recording people's movements, and I think the latter is true.
I see occasional movements of people, but like not from the bloodstain. It's like no.
No. You see the white ghosts the same way that you just see other players in the world sometimes, but it doesn't seem to do the thing where it records your death, like how you died, and reflects it back to you at the moment. There's something broken.
They're definitely working on the PC. All right, so I've tried the Vagabond, I've tried the Samurai, I've tried the Confessor. I actually kind of like the Confessor. I probably will play that after I finish the game.
That's partial melee magic class?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it uses faith, so you have access to healing and offensive spells. The problem with the Astrologer, it's a really dumb name, just call it a name, is that it's straight offensive. There's no kind of protective, or there's some protective, but there's no healing. Yeah, there's no healing whatsoever. There's none. And yeah, I would really go with the Confessor, because Confessor also gets access to fire magic.
Yeah. I'm wondering if I should... You're making me think that I want to start over with a hybrid class.
But the Confessor is close range. You have to be closer than the Astrologer.
Okay. Interesting.
How many things did you end up with? Healing flasks or whatever?
I have 6, 5. Actually,
11.
I don't know.
Did you all get the extra flask as your boon to start with?
No.
Yep.
Seemed crazy not to.
I got runes. I wanted to level as fast as possible.
Okay.
Whatever you do not pick up the key. You get a bazillion of those in the world.
Oh, yeah. Waste of time. It's funny how there are, in every Souls game, it's like, you're always trying to figure out your first time, like, which of these boons is the secret best thing in the game, and which of them is a complete nothing.
Yeah, I sat there for a while looking at which one is the best. Like, do I want the key? Nah. Do I want the extra health? No, not really. I can level into that. And it's such a minimal amount of health, it's not worth it. And overall, I just thought the runes were the best thing to go.
Interesting.
Did you always feel like you're enjoying like exploring and finding stuff in the world and finding?
Yes, I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
Like the other day, I stumbled into an underground world, and I was like, "Whoa, this is pretty freaking cool. And I'm on Twitter like, has anybody found this roar yet? And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, okay, so nobody's found this yet. Okay. But then eventually people started putting on videos on YouTube. I was like, yeah, that's what I was talking about. This place right here.
Well, that's
And I'm not even done. I'm at the end, but I'm trying. Everybody, I saw some people want to get to the end of the game and get an ending. And like, all right, I'm done. But I'm like, no, I want to try and do everything. So my next playthrough, I don't have to worry about doing everything. I've already done it.
Speaking of doing everything,
it feels like you're going to be there for a while doing everything.
Yeah,
120 hours already. But how are you keeping track of quests and stuff? I've heard of people keeping actual journals and things.
in my head.
Okay, so you remember all the characters and what they want from you and where they are on the map?
Yep.
Okay, good for you. I don't trust myself with that anymore.
But I did see some people say, have a notebook and write stuff down.
That's a very old school way of playing video games. That's what we used to do with RPGs when we were kids.
If only the game came with a manual with a note section.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
See,
well, I mean, you're making videos for most of this stuff.
So remember.
Right, yeah, you're documenting it. Yeah.
I mean, there was a conversation I saw on Twitter. People were saying this should have a quest log, and I'm like, but it really. I mean, you're transforming the game now. This is not what this is.
You don't need to be Horizon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The one thing I never want in a Souls game is a fucking checklist. Like, don't
because you can't. Because you
I do want a big fat arrow telling me where to go, though, which this game actually does kind of have.
Because the progression it does, yeah.
It does kind of give you those streaks. Are you guys talking about those glowy streaks?
Well, even the map tells you where to go.
That's true. To some degree.
The kind of the flame, the flame light or whatever. It's like, okay, go here. It's like, all right.
It gives you a rough direction, which I think is the right level of guidance for this. I was actually really worried about this game. Like, believe it or not, I know it was the game I was the most excited for, and I expect, great things from pretty much all the time. But this just really seemed like, it's out of their wheelhouse, and are they going to be able to strike that balance between the traditional Souls difficulty and those very punishing systems, and being in an open world where a lot of randomness happens, and you generally want open world games to be more forgiving. So I just figured, like, are they gonna hit that that balance between challenge and accessibility? And it seems so far like they have.
I just can't believe how blasted large this world is.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge.
I mean, we're used. I don't know, largeness. I look at these Ubisoft games that are so large, I don't ever want to touch them. Largeness is not a draw for me anymore.
Horizon is like that too.
Yeah, it's more like the intricacy of the design. Like as I've just been doing the little dungeons, but they kind of remind me of the Chalice dungeons in Bloodborne. It's kind of like that level of complexity and structure to it, with the very short path to the boss room that you seem to unlock every time.
Have you guys went into the dungeon under the dragon burnt ruins or whatever it's called?
I have found it. I've not gone in. I don't feel confident going in yet. I'm like level 12.
The last thing I was doing was like hopping around the castle, like the towers of the castle, and trying not to die.
Keith was telling us to watch out for something. Watch out for.
There's a chest in the dragon. It's the very starting area where the master dragon comes out, and there's a section, a ruin in there. And once the dragon comes and burns it down, it's called the Dragon Burnt Ruins. And there's a dungeon in there, small. Just go in and pick up a chest. Don't touch the chest. Okay. I mean, do touch the chest, but don't touch the chest.
Okay. Well, I do always enjoy good mimics. So
there are no mimics.
My fingers.
No mimics. There's no mimics. Well, I take it back. There are no mimics yet, and not in the way that you think there are.
Okay, interesting. This is a very exciting time in our lives.
I got Horizon Forbidden West right here. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to open it. Yeah, I think I spoiled myself.
Yeah, but it seems more like the density and the level of care. It's the level of care that I love. The thing I've always loved about From games is just these very thoughtful dungeons that are, like little, puzzle labyrinths that connect to each other. And that's one thing where I'm like, how is that going to translate to an open world? And You
The
know,
answer is very well.
the answer is very well. But yeah, doing that at this scope, I agree, if impressive. But like scope alone, at this point, I'm like, you can procedurally generate as much landscape as you want, but it just seems like everything still has that handcrafted feel that I love from them.
Yeah, it's technical issues aside, it's a phenomenal game, and again, I'm just impressed with what they've managed to accomplish with this game, and the fact that this game has already made so much history for itself as being one of the highest reviewed games of all time. It's like, wow.
Yeah, that's just
It's
let's
like,
hope it gets more stable over time.
yeah, I really hope so. I mean, if I have to play the console version, and I have them, I will. I just the PC platform was the platform I was looking more forward
Mhm.
to because I was hoping they would have finally got it together. But then I was getting worried when you had the network tests and you had these other tests, and it's like, so where's the PC version, guys? Now we
Mm.
know why there wasn't a PC version.
Mark, what do you think as somebody who, is still kind of not quite a convert to this sort of thing?
Oh, I never will be.
Okay.
But as someone that's like you've reviewed some of these, so you know about it.
I mean,
But
it's
You've beaten a bunch
yeah.
of them. You've
I've only beaten one.
yeah, but I'm also counting stuff like The Surge or Remnant.
I only beaten one.
Oh, Remnant. Can we talk about that for a second when you're finished? There's
How
something that
Remnant
really
is still a better game.
well the co-op system is definitely better. Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
That needs to be something that more games like From Software you take a page from their playbook, from Gunfire Games playbook. Really needs
And
it.
you know what from software games really need? Assault rifles.
Mm.
I mean, if you play the
I can
mace
hear Jens' soul
class,
dying inside.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if how deep I'll really get, but I do like playing it. And aside from Demon Souls, or Demon Souls with Jens, I mean, it's more than I can say for the other games.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels, like I said, it feels snappier, so I don't mind. It's a little more loose with how it controls, so I actually do kind of like playing it. Or just like you said, like looking around the world. Even though like the last part I'm in like a very scary castle where I'm afraid of dying every 10 steps. And I hate all the stupid like notes people leave because they're all dumb.
Yeah.
the one thing I don't
But
know about this game is I don't know enough about the summoning system in regards to level. Because
Yeah. So previous ones basically had the system where if you put in a passcode and you restrict the multiplayer to just you and people with the same passcode, that
right,
basically takes the level requirement away.
right, but I don't know what it is for this game right now because
Yeah.
I keep putting my sign down like I want to help you, and it's like, okay, anytime soon, guys. Nobody clicks on my summon, so it's like, all right, I guess you don't want my help
I
then.
think don't you have to like use an item to see summons though, or to see circles?
You
That's the
do.
thing. I've like this might be actually a big misstep thinking about it in design in the long term, which is if you don't just happen to see, like you'd have to be actively looking for signs to see somebody's sign at all. So even though they've put little totems in the world to designate like this is a summon zone. If you're going to put this is where everybody should put their signs down so that you can find each other. The fact that you don't see other people's signs by default means that 99% of the time, people are just going to run right past you and not know you're there.
See,
So
against that Margit guy, there's a summon sign, but for an NPC, and I thought it was like a real person. So I kept doing it for like 20 times because I kept dying against that guy. And then I looked it up. I'm like, oh, this guy's an NPC. I can summon as much as I want. But I didn't see
right.
anyone else's sign because I didn't, the game, like all this Souls games, it kind of the explanations aren't great.
I've matched with one other person. I tried it out pretty early on just because I wanted to. I helped, I put a sign down. I got summoned into somebody else's boss fight and helped him out. And it seemed to work just fine, but that was at a boss door.
Yeah.
So I think this may be one of those cases where the behavior that they end up incentivizing with that design choice is that people are going to only summon at boss doors from now on.
Yeah, yeah. and that's kind of frustrating because
Mm-hmm.
once you summon, you're able to run the entire gamut of that level. So if you're in Lime's Grave, you're able to play that entire region as long as you don't die, which is great. But yeah,
Sounds like
people are only summoning at ball stores, and it takes away some of the excitement. I have yet to play a full game outside of playing with Kyle from Outerhaven, and that was it. That's it. Nobody is picking up my summons, and I put it down random places, and nobody's just picking it up. And it's kind of frustrating.
But
Which is why
that
I
just
also probably want to go to the console version. There's probably more players on console, but there's not because Steam is like at 700,000 players and above. So
right.
I don't know.
That's probably fewer. Well, I guess that's about as many PS5s as are out there, but who
So
knows?
everyone's
But
playing everyone here the PS5 is playing this game.
on the other hand, what you just said about you can run the entire region, that is a very exciting thing to hear because that's actually going to be a real boon. Mark, we should just do that.
Okay.
And get
As long
into
as you don't
just
die.
right, as long as you don't die, which so far has not been a huge issue apart from bosses. So yeah, maybe the fact that there are fewer people matching in these other areas will make it easier to get together with friends and just get a group going.
I died a few times to that, like one of the big troll guys in the outer world.
Yeah, well, Mark and I had a bad experience with invasions the last time we played through Demon Souls. I mean, it was constant in certain areas, just non-stop Black Phantoms. But nothing like that yet, and it's way too early for me to have any kind of thoughts on that in Elden Ring. I don't think if there is PvP, it's probably way later. That's what I'm assuming.
No, you actually. Well, no, you get one early game if you
Okay.
go to the was it Muckwater Cave area.
Mhm.
Yeah, you get your first one.
Cool. And it summons just somebody for that area specifically.
No, it's an NPC.
Oh, an NPC Black Phantom. Yeah, that's a little
Yeah,
different.
you can't get PvP until you actually co-op with somebody, and then it opens the door for somebody to jump in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's how. Well, actually, that's not how it was. That's an improvement.
Right. Before you had to have
Yeah.
humanity become.
If you were human, you were vulnerable. Yeah.
Right. You didn't have to co-op. As long as you were human, you could be invaded. Now you have to summon somebody in to co-op with you before the invasion door opens up. Or you use one of the items. There's two items. One, you open yourself up to PvP, and one, you open yourself up to a duel, which is more of the honorable PvP, but you still open your door.
That sounds slightly better, systems-wise.
I just want somebody to play with me. That's it. Yeah, moving to the console is sounding more and more attractive. After I finish the game, I'll jump onto the console until they fix the PC version.
Well, there you go. That's what Keith really wants. He wants somebody to play with him. So
we can always use people to help us fight bosses and do huge areas without dying.
Well, speaking of someone's interest dying, is once again Horizon Forbidden West had to deal with what they had to deal with the first time when Horizon Zero Dawn came out. The greatest game of all time comes out the week after it releases. So people kind of just forget about the fact that it came out a week ago.
It did what it needed to, though, which is push Randy above me in the fantasy league.
That is true. I will put the link in the description there so you can know what's going on with our fantasy critic league. I had Elden Ring, so I'm sure that helped me some.
Oh yeah, you may. I need to check if you've beaten me and Randy. We were kind of neck and neck at some point.
Mark, the first, last week's show, you had to, you were a few hours in. How much further have you got?
I'm about 20 hours in now, and I finally got to the point where the game actually opened up.
So you've finally gotten to the west now. Forbidden West.
It has a starting area, and then it has a secondary starting area, and then it's like, okay, now you can actually go to Vegas, and I'm like, all right, cool. So now I'm trying to make my way over there.
So is this like built on the ruins of of the real Vegas?
Well, it's like the West Coast in general. Like it's a compressed map. So like Vegas is like halfway, like right, kind of in the middle, and then it's like, oh, if you keep going further west, you'll hit the coast, and I'm like, I don't think the coast is that close to Vegas. Like,
I mean, during this time, it could have, right?
Yeah.
There's so few landmarks in those games that it's easy to forget that they are post-apocalyptic versions of our world.
Yeah.
How much
funny,
how much Vegas is there? Like,
not much. It's just like a ruin, or like it's like 4 or 5 buildings, and that's it so far that I've seen.
Okay. Because the first thing that pops in my head with that immediately is like that one Resident Evil movie that was set in the Vegas that had been taken over, swallowed by the desert.
The fourth one?
Might have been the fourth one. Extinction?
Fourth or third. These movies are all terrible.
Sorry.
They all run together.
Oh.
No, it's funny because they're Horizon has something called cauldrons, which it's kind of like, it's very analogous to like a Demon Souls dungeon, or it's like a dungeon in Horizon where you go, you hop around, and you eventually fight a boss at the end that lets you control machines like once you defeat it.
Mm-hmm.
And I already did one, which is fine. Actually, I did 2, but I found one in the game world, and it's like, oh, this one is not powered, and I'm like, well, that's weird. So I explored it, and then it's just kind of like locked off, and I Googled it, and I'm like, and then Google's like, oh, that's the last area of the game. And it's like, don't you think you should have hidden this better then, or like not put this like right in the middle of the map to make it like weird?
I seem to recall that you could find the final dungeon as a locked off area in the first game pretty easily too.
I think the first game you had like explore north, like way up in the mountain somewhere.
Right.
I mean, maybe, but yeah, it's it's more the same.
So, but this is set in the desert now mostly.
Yeah.
Huh.
And that's why I said like it's hard to like see the map because like they draw yellow neon on orange mountains, and it's like you could have done this better. You could have just had like an RGB slider, or like had purple or something like that.
That footage that Sean is showing right now is pretty lush, though.
Yeah, well, it does have it does have like a lot of different environments, but desert mostly, at least that I've seen. Yeah, it's more of the same.
Okay.
So I mean,
not a bad thing.
You don't feel like they've really made improvements from Zero Dawn.
I mean, some ways they've gone back. Like the waypoint system in this game is atrocious. It's like the worst thing I've seen, because you'll set a waypoint on the map, and then it's like it just guides you to a waypoint, but not what the actual damn thing is. So there's a question mark on the map, and I set up my waypoint to it, and I'm like standing on top of this thing, and it doesn't tell you, oh, the actual entrance is 500 feet south. So I spent an hour trying to glitch to the map or something until I just looked it up online, and it's like, why didn't the waypoint just tell me go 500 feet south, and then I can find this thing? Yeah, I haven't faced
sorry.
No, I was going to say I haven't faced that big woolly mammoth looking robot yet, but I'm sure I will eventually.
Are you doing mostly range? Have you tried the melee or?
I'm doing more range now. Melee is really ineffective in this game, at least so far. I'm not, you get gear, but it's all very, it's all green crap. Like I'm waiting for to get a purple item at least some point. Then I might care about upgrading it. Because the game is like, oh, you can upgrade your gear, and I'm like, why would I? It's all, it's like this green thing that I don't care about. I did do that. I did
any of the I forgot what they're called, but they're like special attacks or whatever that you.
They're called Valor Attacks.
Yeah,
mine is a cloaking field. It's actually very useful. There's a few other ones. It's like an overshield, which I kind of want to get, but I just haven't found it, or I haven't got to it yet. This game dumps like skill points on you like crazy, and it's very open ended about what you want to do with them. But it'd be better if it kind of guided you a little better about what you should kind of shoot for.
What's the skill tree like this time?
There's 6 skill trees, which is too much. Melee, ranged, trapper, stealth, and then 2 more. One is like potions or food, and one is about some other one, or one is like how to dominate animals or robots. Yeah, the fact that you have to hunt robots and animals to craft stuff is just too much. I don't need to hunt squirrels. I don't care that much. But it's more of the same. Like, if it's not bad, but it's so guided. It's a complete opposite of Elden Ring.
How's the story this time?
It's interesting. Like, that's kind of what's keeping me going so far. Is you meet other humans finally, and they're shitheads.
Of course, humans are the worst.
Yep. So that's kind of fun. But like Aloy in this game specifically is really annoying. It's a lot like Lara Croft in like the last Tomb Raider game, that Shadow of the Tomb Raider, where she is like so determined and so single focused that it just drives you crazy because like she's such an asshole.
Why why do you say like she just tells people to shut up and I want to go on?
No, she just abandons her friends like the drop of a hat. Like within like the first 2 hours of the game, she like abandons her Varl like twice, and she abandons the other guy, the shameless looking guy, like at least once because they're like injured. And it's like, you can just wait a day for them to get better. Like, it doesn't really matter. I did find a home. I did find a base. And I think that's like the big draw in this game, but I don't know what you can do with it yet. Like, you have to like power it up first, which I haven't done. But yeah, she's just so like obsessive about saving the world, and it's just kind of that isn't what's drawing me in, actually. Everything else is fine, but not that.
So you're interested in learning about the tribes and other characters?
I'm interested in learning why the other humans are such shitheads. That's kind of about it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, is there any other games you guys really want to talk about before we head on into talking about news stuff?
Yeah, I got something.
What?
So Yen's got me this thing, the Super 64 Eon HDMI adapter for N64.
Looks
this thing
nice.
It's supposed to let you use an HDMI cable for the N64. Because modern TVs don't do the N64 justice or good at all. It arrived dead on arrival.
Wow.
I can see like broken pins inside of it.
Quality control, man.
Inside the actual like where it plugs into an N64. They made a GameCube model, that's like the good one I've heard. But this one is a piece of garbage.
I don't understand. But what about the positive reviews?
Yeah, well, they're like it has a fair amount of positive reviews, but the negative reviews were like, we got this and it arrived dead on arrival, and it's like, yep, cool. And actually, the packaging looks used. Like it's like there's like a big fingerprint inside the packaging.
Like somebody returned it already and they just sold it again.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it did have like.
Oh man.
There were like stickers in the bottom, and they are like the official ones. But yeah, there's like a big like kind of grease spot or like kind of a fingerprint like in the like plastic packaging. And it's like, I didn't do that. Like my fingers aren't that bad, and it's not wiping off. Like it's like permanently etched in or something. So
bizarre.
Yeah, that's
the thing turns on, but it displays like no picture at all.
Picture,
and I tried multiple consoles, cables, TVs, games, even jumper packs, and nothing.
That's
so forget this company.
Say the name of the company one more time.
Eon. EIN.
Okay, do not buy.
They make these. Yeah, they make products like this thing. They make a GameCube one. That's like the good one, I think. The Mark II, like GameCube adapter, and I think they make like one or two other things as well. But yeah, apparently the N64 version does not do well.
Oh well.
Yeah,
I don't have any other games, just Elden Ring and I guess Wasteland, which at this point nobody cares about Wasteland 3.
I'm still plugging away at Lost Ark, and I forever will be.
Yep.
Well,
Wasteland 3 has gotten real interesting though. Like that game's got some factions. Like if you like wacky factions in your RPG, Wasteland 3's got you.
Yeah, I remember Mark and Daniel both really liked that game.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. But old news.
Triangle strategy is great, especially if you like strategy RPGs. If you've been waiting for that for the next week, definitely go play that demo. I think you will be satisfied on that end. I will say there's probably a lot more story than I thought there was going to be. So it's not a lot of. There's a lot of story before you get to each story battle. So be prepared for that.
I expect hours and hours of hitting X through cutscenes with these kinds of games. So
yeah. So if you're not interested in that, do exactly what Yen says. Just get to the battle eventually. There is side stuff as well that you can go do, and that's in the first three chapters. So I don't know how many chapters are going to be in this game. Obviously, and that'd be insane. We're gonna let you play the first 3/4 of the game on a demo. It's gonna transfer over.
It's still a shareware model.
The chapter 1 through 3 is only 3 hours, but chapter 4 is like 90.
Yeah, that's how we do it, Square. So be on lookout for that in a week when that comes out.
Excellent.
But all right, let's get on with the news. Just to be, I guess, transparent, Keith and I both were part of the latest Spec Mode podcast, so some of these topics may be similar. So
I was like deja vu. I was like, I just talked about this.
Me and Keith may not be as verbose about this as we were on that podcast, just because it may be sounding like saying a lot of the same things.
I like to repeat myself. I'm a parent.
Yeah.
Right? Do that a lot, being a parent. So I guess just to get these out of the way, since by the time we're doing another show, it will officially be March 2022. The PS Plus games for March are Ghost of Tsushima Legends. That's the multiplayer aspect of that, which you guys both liked, Jens and Mark.
Yeah, we did the cooperative part of it.
Once.
Oh, did we not? I guess we didn't finish all the campaigns.
No, we only tried it like once, and we didn't even finish that.
No, we finished one level. I'm pretty sure there was something where we got like a final.
Well, we finished it, but we didn't. I don't think we did every round. We stopped round 7 or 10 or whatever. No. But
I mean, I liked it. I thought it was a good mode, but definitely didn't have the patience to keep grinding away at that. But now you can grind away at it for free.
There you go. As part of your PS Plus subscription, and then Ghost Runner, which is a first-person run-a-thon.
That's been on my playlist.
It's like Mirror's Edge, but good.
It looks really awesome.
And you get to just slash stuff and not necessarily just be shooting and all of that. Team Sonic Racing and Ark Survival Evolved are make up the rest of it there. I will say the Sonic Racing games are not that bad, so there's that.
Oh yeah, I thought there was one last gen that had a pretty good reputation.
Transformed.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And I know this bothers Keith that we have to talk about rumors, but
I mean, it doesn't bother me. It's just too much speculation and not enough. Too much speculation and not enough forthcoming from the company.
So to be fair, the only thing we've ever heard from Sony is that they do have some kind of Game Pass competitor, but they have never officially revealed anything about it other than saying that they are working on something. And that's it. Anything that's ever come out about it, including the name, is just inventions by Bloomberg usually Jason Schreier, or now Jeff Grubb, who is the other insider that usually people go to for these things. And to be fair and transparent, once again, they were both have been talking about things, as Keith always likes to talk about, the Switch Pro that has still not happened and probably will not happen now.
It's totally coming. Bloomberg said it so.
We know this is coming. We don't know if it's going to be exactly like this, but according to Jeff Grubb, there is now tiers that may be in the works for Project Spartacus, and there are apparently 3 tiers. One of them is the Essential, which is basically PlayStation Plus, as it is right now. Extra, which would be PlayStation Plus a catalog of downloadable games, which I guess would be kind of like the PS Plus collection that already exists if you have a PS5. And then the premium version, which is $16. I don't know why you would decide to have it be $1 more than the Game Pass Ultimate. If anything, wouldn't you want to make it the same price to kind of like, knock them a little bit?
Like I said previously, the tier system, if it's actually true, is stupid. Don't do this.
I mean, the second one just kind of seems pointless. Like, just make it 2 tiers, and that's it. But the third tier basically has everything. It has streaming, just like Xbox includes the cloud service with theirs. It includes, I guess, all of the classic games or pretty much everything that's involved in PS Now. I don't know if this means you're going to have other classic games that are not part of PS Now included. There's no, obviously, like translation really for that right now. And then game trials seems to be the big thing that they're adding to this as well. So this would make it more kind of like how EA Play does their thing when every time they have any game release, mostly their sports games, you can play the 10 hours of it and you get as far as you can in the 10 hours and then you decide if you want to buy the game or not.
Right.
Jens, as somebody that has been spoiled by Xbox Game Pass, how do you feel about Sony kind of taking the way of, well, you may get like new games, but you're only going to play a certain amount, and then you still have to go buy the game as opposed to what Xbox does, where you get the full game and you get to experience it?
I have no feelings about it whatsoever. My feelings are complete apathy.
Apathy.
Since I have Game Pass, and I already am drowning in games, right. I don't need Sony's sampler platter to go alongside with that. I'm already bloated. So
it's just a dumb idea. 2 tiers. That's it. Tier 1. No, actually, no, I take it back. No tiers. Just stop. You want to one-up Xbox Game Pass? And technically, Xbox Game Pass only has 2 tiers, but it's 1 tier per system. You have the basic Xbox Game Pass. You have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. You have Xbox Game Pass PC. Ultimate is $14, like $14.99, and you get the best of both worlds. Or you just get the cheaper version for PC if you don't have an Xbox. PlayStation doesn't have their foot in the pond like Xbox does in regards to PC gaming. Yeah, they got a couple of games, but not enough to say, oh, we have an entire tier just for you. So it's just 1 tier. PlayStation Now, PlayStation Plus, and all the goodies we're going to toss in there for $15 a month. Here you go. Surprise. That's it. Right. That's all we need. We don't need multiple tiers. That's just dumb. And we don't need tiers that are going to gatekeep classic games, older games, because I can't pay $15, but you'll charge me, whatever, $10 just for this. No networking, just, oh, here's access to these games you used to love back in the day. That's dumb. Don't do that. 1 tier. Done. Or don't do it.
I'm only in favor of 2 tiers if the expensive tier gets you PlayStation Home too.
Oof.
The thing that makes me a little bit suspicious is the name Spartacus.
Isn't it a dumb name?
Well, it's a dumb name. It also doesn't seem like a very Sony name. Like from Sony, I expect either, named after a Shakespeare character, like Oberon or something, or I expect it to be called the MDR Z1XM4 1000. Because those are the two Sony naming conventions with which I'm familiar.
I'm only in favor of if it being called Spartacus if they get a CGI Kirk Douglas.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
excellent.
I mean, to be fair, it's a code name. I don't think they're gonna go with that because they can't.
No, of course
trademark
not.
it
It's
or-
not, and
Yeah,
they're not going to put
it's like Project Triangle
Yeah, it's a,
Project.
well, yeah.
or the
Anybody
Xbox
that's-
itself.
Anybody that's not that team doesn't just go, oh, let's take the project name off of it and just call it Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy and whatever.
I still can't believe that they printed Project Scorpio on those Xboxes. It was so silly.
I feel bad for getting rid of my Xbox series or my Xbox One X, the Project Scorpion. But I was like, at the same time, it doesn't mean anything anymore. But it was kind of funny having it on there.
It was nice. Yeah. Sorry, Sean.
I think this is go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I might actually get this. It depends on the roster of old games. That's the biggest thing for me.
Oh yeah, like if this is a backwards library, like if suddenly they say, "Oh, here's your Persona 2 Part 1 and Persona 2 Part 2 or whatever," or
here's like folklore.
Yeah. Folklore. Yeah, give me all that old, Tokyo Jungle. Give me all that old library back. Then you've got something.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could definitely see them like doing all the, maybe you're including all the Jack and Daxters and going through Sucker Punches, Sly Coopers and the Infamous games and all that kind of stuff.
Sony is never going to do the work. They're never going to want to do the work to get that library back on there and working. They've neglected it for too long, and they've changed chipsets so many times, and they've carried some things forward and others not, and they've ported some things and others not, and some things are running on emulation, and some things are remakes technically or remasters technically. And I don't know. I just don't see them getting like a library back together that'd be worth it, except for new games. I see this is like a demo of the new games, and if you like them, buy them.
Yeah, and if it's like that, no thank you.
Yeah, that I don't agree with. I think in the world that we currently live in, and I get that Sony doesn't want to spend a bunch of money doing this. They don't want to be making this into a loss thing like Microsoft does, where they're basically paying a ton of money to have all of these games day one.
I don't want that. Like, right. I would rather have the emulation service and actually have it be good, unlike the Switch one.
Yeah, we don't know how. I mean, obviously they have all these games on PS Now, but I think the one thing they have to do is the PS3 games need to be downloadable, or that's not going to be very proficient for the people that can't do streaming. You're already having problems with. I mean, the Switch's streaming sucks, but still, we're seeing this with all these cloud-based games that the Switch has to put out because they can't do it. Microsoft's is fine, but it still has its problems for people that don't have a really good internet connection.
Man, I've seen this video going around of somebody comparing like old PlayStation 2 Kingdom Hearts with Kingdom Hearts being streamed on the Switch, and it's brutal. I didn't even know what the fuck was happening. I was like, what? Mark, I sent it to Mark, was like, terrible. Mark, what is happening in this video? And he was like, oh yeah, it's cloud gaming. It's like, what?
Yep. Yeah, cloud gaming, especially on the Switch, is not it's not optimal. We'll leave it at that. It's not very good. Not very good at all.
Yeah, definitely not. So I mean, I'm sure that again, like I said on spec mode, I think we haven't heard anything about it yet because they're waiting until after Gran Turismo. I think if you release something involving Project Spartacus right now, it totally will become the talk of the town, and people will stop talking about the games that are coming out. They want attention on their games, whether it's Horizon, whether it's, I mean, Elden Ring's doing the Horizon no favors right now, but Gran Turismo is about to come out. They don't want something else from Sony already taking pushing that aside. Wait till there's a lull. Wait till the summer when you got a Summer Games Fest that hopefully is not going to take up the entire summer now if there's not an E3. And all those other things that are going to happen in the summer, you can announce it then and have people get excited for the holiday season or whenever it is that they're going to release this thing. Just hope Sony doesn't botch it, because if you kind of do this half-ass, it's going to be taken as half-ass, and you're going to get laughed out of town. And look, Xbox Game Pass wasn't perfect from the beginning.
It wasn't.
But
It was not.
But Sony, if they're not going to do day one games, right, which we know they're not, and they have no reason to do that, if you're not going to be making sure that you really do a lot to put like third-party games on there or whatever, and you really are going to just do these free trials and then maybe the one-off like Shadow Warrior 3 on PS Now, day one and stuff like that, then you got to come with something. And if it doesn't come out well, then Microsoft's just going to keep doing their thing. You're going to wind up keep doing your thing, and this is going to wind up being something that you just push aside, just like you do with PS Now right now, where that doesn't get promoted at all, other than when you announce your 3 or 6 or however many games you're putting on that service for the month, and then that's it. It goes away again. So if you're going to really try to push it to the forefront, they need to do it right the first time if you're going to enter the market that way.
And the problem I have with that, though, Sean, is, Sony, all right, PlayStation doesn't have a great track record when it comes to smaller projects. We'll put it that way. PlayStation Vita, PlayStation Portable, PlayStation Now. They don't do a good job. Home was a disaster from the start. It was a disaster from the start. Should have never happened. I don't miss it. I'm pretty sure most people don't miss it.
That was ill-conceived to begin with.
It's right up there with Microsoft's Clippy. Terrible.
Except Clippy's iconic now.
Yeah, he is. He's a meme for the ages. PlayStation Home is like, wish it never happened before. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But
my favorite thing.
I don't understand with PlayStation why they half behind things. PlayStation Now has potential. I've said it before. I said it in an article. I said it on podcast. It has potential, but PlayStation is not they're not devoting it. And like you said, and we said it the other day, they're not even advertising anymore. If you don't know what PlayStation Now is, you won't know what it is. They don't say anything about it. Xbox Game Pass is everywhere. TV, on your Xbox, on commercials. It's like, it's everywhere. You can't not know about Xbox Game Pass.
Right.
What's PlayStation Now? I don't know.
I didn't know for the longest time that you could download games on PlayStation Now.
Well, for a while you couldn't.
Exactly.
Only streaming.
For the longest time, I was like, "Oh, this is streaming only. I'm not even going to bother." And then, like years later, I was talking to Randy, and Randy was like, "Oh yeah, you can just download games." I was like, "What?" If I'd known that, maybe I would have used it at some point.
Really, it's just PS4 because the PS2 library that they have on there is very small.
Okay.
And you can only download PlayStation Now games onto the PlayStation.
Yeah, see, this is what I mean, where it's like it seems like they just haven't got, like, their library's fragmented now because they never did the infrastructure stuff that they needed to do to get it all to the same level.
And PlayStation Now and PC just an afterthought. It's like, yeah, whatever. We can only still stream. That's fine, I guess. Can we download the game? No. Oh, all right. Well then, why do I want to play you now?
Yeah, I mean, on the PC front, it's not like Microsoft's is that much better. Honestly, their launcher is awful, and at least the games download, but sometimes they're not great on that front either. But one thing that PlayStation has been very good in is virtual reality, and so they have announced their.
Not talking to me.
Nice segue.
To be fair, they don't talk to a lot of people, so don't feel like it's just
terrible.
You do a lot, and the team does wonderful things, and I still can't for the life of me think of why you don't get conversations started with them. But sometimes the North American version of several companies are kind of shitty as well. But anyway, PlayStation VR 2 finally got revealed. Now we know what it looks like. We had gotten the controllers previously, but we never really actually seen what the new headset was going to look like until basically they decided to reveal that this week. Now that we've seen it and what it looks like, I mean, we know it's going to have the one cord, obviously, and they showed that. It's at the bottom there.
Yep.
But I mean, any interest or distance, does it make you more interested in maybe getting it down the line or getting it at launch? I mean, how do you feel about the PSVR 2, Keith?
That
Show
forehead
me-
thing looks uncomfortable.
Show me something and tell me something without giving me actual metrics and performance. I don't care. I also don't like the fact that it has a cord. People have the Quest 2. That is now the trendsetter. If you are bringing out a VR that is not top of the line and you're adding a cord, you're asking for a lot of pushback.
Mhm.
Oh, the Quest 1 was wireless.
Well, both were wireless, yeah, but I mean, you still needed to get a better performance, obviously, but just from what it is, I mean, the PlayStation VR was not good. I'm sorry, I have it, I didn't like it. As much as Sony, those go ahead.
3 of us had it. None of us liked it.
Really, you didn't end up like?
There's a couple games I played, but it wasn't ready.
Who's the third person, Mark?
I liked it. It
Okay.
was just all the chords and the setup was annoying, and
See, that's not.
yeah.
The most time I've spent with a VR set was at a coworker's house who'd gotten the HTC Vive at the time, and we were running all those, Steam, the Aperture Science tech demo, and all that stuff. And man, that was an amazing experience, except for the fact that there were like 5 cables.
No, the Quest has no cables, so yeah, it's cool.
But I just couldn't see myself wearing such a big and stupid thing on my head.
Unlike expensive headphones.
No, that's the joke.
I mean, I don't know that. I mean, we won't know really if it's any more or less uncomfortable than the PSVR first one was.
It looks odd. The positioning of the headband looks very peculiar in the photographs.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
It makes me wonder if it swings around, if it's meant to. Yeah, like, okay, so it actually looks like it's on a bit of a hinge. So I'm assuming it actually hinges upwards and isn't like strapped to your forehead.
If it is, it's going to be like a Clockwork Orange when Alex gets strapped in the theater.
Well, right. Yeah. So if you're watching on the video YouTube version, you'll watch it on YouTube later.
Okay. So it looks way more reasonable from above. It actually looks like it's going to go around the shape of your head, the circumference of your head. But when I see it from the other angle, it looks really strange. And I don't know if they just turned it. Can you go back a little bit in that video one more time? Sorry.
Let me go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, this one.
That's the front.
Okay, so that's
so basically for the audio people, I'm showing the official image that PlayStation put out, which is the one that shows the 2 controllers, and then you're seeing the front of it as if you're looking at it from somebody that's wearing it.
Okay, so it's like a full ring that you put on your head, but like the front piece snaps upward, and then you like lift it down.
Because that has the camera in it. This has the camera in it instead of you're having to have the camera set next to your TV. Like
it just seems awkward. It just seems awkward.
Yeah, I can't quite wrap my head around it. It doesn't look natural. I'll shut up about it because I don't know what else to say. It doesn't make sense to me. It's like looking at an Escher painting and trying to figure out the angles.
But it's PlayStation VR. It's gotta be good, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna knock the system. It's just I want to be away from the cords. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, please. If there was no cord, my living room, my living room situation is such that if I was doing VR, I'd be stepping like way away from the TV. So if it was cordless, I would actually finally be able to do VR stuff because I've now got a reasonably large living room. But the fact that it's wired completely destroys that.
Because I love VR. I love doing VR games. I love doing VR exercise. I love playing certain VR games on the PC. And the very good ones that are implemented well are fantastic. And PlayStation VR, again, did have some good games. But it was not a powerful system. And they keep saying, hey, this is going to be great. This is going to be amazing. This is going to be great. I got a couple questions. How does it work? How does it play? Have you had somebody test this? Talk about how it feels in our head, because I think this thing looks awkward. You haven't said anything about that.
You need to just have a video saying this is what a Quest 2 looks like. This is how this thing looks like.
Yeah, do a comparison. That'd be nice. But show us the power of this system. Because if this thing is garbage, and we spend all this money for it, it's going to be a problem. 2, this is only for PlayStation 5. The PlayStation 5s that we're having a hard time getting a hold of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Can't
going to
use
be
it for
at
PlayStation
least
4.
half, if not 3/4 the price of the PS5.
Oh yeah, easily,
So-
easily. Given the specs they said, it's going to be at least $200 at
It's
least.
a niche within a niche.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then you have to worry about longevity and software support.
Yeah, which that Horizon Call of the Mountain thing looks like probably going to be a tech demo of walking around and looking at the different robots and all that. I don't think that's going to be a full game because you're not even Aloy, you're another character.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's something, I wouldn't even be surprised if it's something more like the Batman game that they had come out
And that-
at the launch.
Here's the thing: I've already seen Batman's parents die in VR. So what other experiences even are there to be had? we've already had the essential.
You get Star Wars, you get to see Padme die in VR. So
Yeah.
To be fair, that Darth Vader game looked like it's actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, I hear that's good. I hear that the lightsaber stuff really works.
Just give me Gran Turismo VR and we're good.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
could see it being really good for any kind of cockpit game. I would love
Mhm.
VR.
Yeah, port Resident Evil 4 VR to it.
Give me Star Wars Squadrons.
Yeah.
Like if you here's how you I'll have the real answer to you, Sean. Here's how you get me to drop the $200 or $300 or whatever the fuck. However much it costs, here's how you get me to drop it on this piece of hardware is you couple it with Star Wars Squadrons
There you go.
and Ace Combat.
Ace
so
Combat,
you give me cockpit support for those games and
Or
let
a
me wear
new
the
Armored Core.
Armored Core. Let me because I already got the Thrustmaster. So let me use my Thrustmaster with the PlayStation VR headset in those games, and then you've got yourself a use case that's actually valid.
I think Ace Combat 7 did have VR support.
Yeah, it did actually, but it was like a little offshoot or whatever. It wasn't
Yeah,
the
it
full
wasn't the main
game.
game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly. If the next From Software game is a PSVR Armored Core,
That'd be nice.
there we
You
go.
know, it'll be a PSVR Otogi.
Good Lord. Or God, what's that one? Ninja Blade?
yeah,
That wasn't them though, was it?
That's From Software.
Yep, that was
Oh.
From Software.
I could see that. That's
Enchanted Arms.
Ninja Blade is so QTE heavy that it could actually translate into an interesting VR game. I think.
No, it's
But I
funny
mean-
though. Now that you bring up Ninja Blade, it's people were
Mhm.
like, From Software has never made a bad game, and it's like, have you played that game?
That's a lie because they made at least one Monster Hunter game.
Did they?
Monster Hunter Diary for the PSP.
Interesting.
Oh,
Some
see, PSP. That's
Japanese
why
one.
nobody remembers.
Yeah.
I know people love those PSP Monster Hunter games.
yeah, but I think that one is apparently different.
Okay. Well, that's what I would expect from.
Yeah. Well, something I didn't. They were kind of talking about, but I didn't expect it to already be announced before Microsoft actually officially acquired Activision. But Call of Duty is going to skip a year, not this year, not 2022, but 2023. They're going to take a break,
Oh, please.
and
You saw this coming. You saw this coming.
yeah, I mean, but it's good though. It's good for them to finally realize.
Oh, it
that
needs to be.
we need to give this a year off.
a
Mark-
year off.
Yeah.
A year.
Mark immediately went into Schadenfreude mode, like, "Oh, it's so funny that they're taking a year off." I'm just like, "Why?"
It needs 2
It
years
only
off.
stands to reason.
It's because they keep putting all our eggs in one basket. So when, of course, it fails, like
Yeah, I mean they're
they
gonna have a
should-
slow
they're
year.
diversifying, not
Well,
putting all
But
their
why
eggs
are
in
they
one
going to
basket.
start a bunch of new stuff right now when Microsoft could just go and kill it? It's like,
Well, I mean, they should have been doing this 5 years ago, not now. Like
Yeah,
the last game they made was like Tony Hawk 1 and 2.
It makes sense though. I definitely think they needed to. They, in fact, that last Call of Duty was almost a mistake to put it out so soon
I'm sorry.
because.
You said almost a mistake.
Yeah, like
Okay.
that.
Okay, it was definitely a mistake to put it out so soon, just because the multiplayer on the previous one was doing so well. They could have built on that for a long time.
They could have had more movie characters in it.
I mean, and
But the
that's
problem-
partially why I think
On the other hand,
Vanguard.
Ronald Reagan. So there's
Part of the
always
reason why I
that.
think Vanguard didn't sell as well is because you have Warzone out there that kind of takes some of that away.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Warzone.
that and people are just. I think some of the people that play this game are actually getting tired of the same old, same old. And yes,
Yeah.
Warzone has been killing it.
Well, not anymore. Like, because it's been a huge, isn't it? Like, been a huge mess the past like few months.
Well, yeah, ever since that Raven QA team went
Yeah.
on strike or whatever, where they're not fixing bugs and things like that. To be fair, that's not really, Warzone's fault, I guess. That's an Activision internal thing at that point. But it's good to see that they've realized that. We're seeing, hopefully, what Visual Concepts is gonna be able to do with WWE 2K, that they took the year off. And we've
Burn it to
seen
the
that
ground.
let's hope not. That I'm interested in that game. And what Ubisoft's been able to do with Assassin's Creed taking time off as well. So, it's good for Activision to let their teams be able to kind of have that refresh. Let's hope that once Microsoft has the full control, they start separating some of these teams and let them make other games again.
DJ Hero 3, let's go.
Yes.
That'd actually be cool. I would be down with a DJ Hero 3. I don't know if people want to go buy that whole
I still got mine.
thing again, but yeah, let's go for it. Start making stuff that we haven't seen Activision do in a while. Let's make it happen.
Like games.
But yeah, like games. But yes, so moving from that to making, considering making something that's existed before, Fallout New Vegas 2 is in early talks at Microsoft. This has been a thing that people have wanted since
another rumor.
Obsidian and Bethesda are now under the same banner.
It cracked me up just reading the notes, just because how you worded it and just the most vague nothing. It just says Fallout New Vegas 2 thought about.
Yeah.
It's what it is right now. It's a thought.
That's
it's not.
I mean, it's been thought about a lot. That doesn't mean anything.
Hey man, we gotta make the news. We gotta make this newsworthy. So we're gonna put anything out there right now. That's the way it is.
Okay.
I mean, but
words such as Obsidian have been said.
Yeah. Words such as Obsidian and New Vegas 2 have been said. Like, really? Wow. I mean, that didn't take much thought there. I mean, it was something that people were clamoring for as soon as Bethesda got bought. They're like, oh my God, somebody can make a Fallout New Vegas 2 now. Like, okay, well, 3 years later, however long it's been, 2 years.
I mean, why do people want a New Vegas 2? Like, why wouldn't you want like some other new area? And then also,
people liked New Vegas.
It's got nothing. But here's the thing, Mark, you're right in one way, right? Which is that the setting doesn't fucking matter. I'd rather have a new setting. However, when people talk about New Vegas 2, what they mean is they want the writing team of New Vegas back. They want a continuation of that tone that New Vegas was good, which no other Fallout game has. That very kind of cynical, tongue-in-cheek. It's the Fallout 2 tone kind of that they went for with New Vegas, and that's why people love it.
I'd be happy with a New Vegas remastered where it was like, New Vegas but good. Like, so I might buy that.
Well, we already have, I as you may remember, I was very critical of New Vegas at the time because it was so fucking buggy on the 360, and I didn't have a good time with my own playthrough. But in retrospect, having played a bunch more, and now that it's on, I can run it anytime. I can boot it up anytime on my Series X. It runs perfectly, beautifully, and quickly. And backwards compatibility mode, I don't really need it remastered or remade. It's already pretty much perfect as is. So,
I mean, I wouldn't. My problem with New Vegas, I played it on PC and I didn't really have many bugs. But like, you go into New Vegas, the city, and it's like four guard robots and 3 NPCs, and that's it. And
it's like one of those shitty fake Vegases that you drive to on the way to Vegas.
Yeah,
if you ever take the road trip from LA to Vegas, you drive past like a bunch of places that are trying to trick you into thinking that you're already in Vegas. That's
Yeah,
definitely
well,
what it is.
it's the game was like set up like, oh, like, New Vegas survived, and it's thriving, and it's like this city is still empty, or
So then you should want them to do the setting again because now they can do it big.
But I think the story itself was told. Like, what are you gonna have another silver chip laying around, or
Hey, new story. I don't know. You still have you could deal with. I mean, depending on, of course, a lot of those like whether you wiped out Caesar's Legion or whether you're aligned with the robot who runs everything. All those things. There are a lot of variables. If you wanted to pick up from the end of New Vegas directly, you'd have to make some tough calls on what's canon and what's not canon.
Sorry,
but you could
Renee,
tell these stories.
Died, so you can't have Mr. Hand back.
Well, I'd be very happy. Here's the thing: what I really want is for the New Vegas people to just make something else.
Yeah,
like just give me any RPG from those people, and I'm
go
happy.
like Pacific Northwest, like that'd be cool, or some other town like Chicago or something. Like, why not?
Keith, where do you stand on New Vegas? Is that the holy grail of Fallouts for you, like it is for a lot of people?
I do not play Fallout.
Interesting.
Yeah, you and I are both in the same boat there. That's why
I own them. I don't play them.
Yep.
Okay. Never
Same
have.
Never have. Never touched
Interesting.
them.
Any Skyrim though? You mentioned Skyrim earlier.
Oh yeah,
in comparison.
yeah. I played the hell out of Skyrim.
Okay, so yeah. So you
Fallout is like, what if Skyrim was fun?
Well,
or
it's
had
basically
like
what
rating?
it's basically what if Skyrim. I mean, systems wise, you know what's up.
Yeah.
Because they're very similar.
Well, at least
we're talking Bethesda games. I just want another The Evil Within. That's all I want. That's all I ever care about.
Evil Within is great.
I haven't even played the second one yet, so I can't really complain about not having a third one.
I remember how much you loved the first one.
I think Randy and I both gave it like a 7. It was okay. It's no
bad.
Shadows of the Damned. If talking about Activision.
Shadows of the Damned.
I know. I'm sorry. It's my favorite.
I love Shadows of the Damned too. I'm just like, I love that you always make that comparison.
Well, it'll be Ghostwire Tokyo soon. That'll be the game that I bring up all the time.
We'll see. We'll see if that's
no
the case.
faith. No faith in that game.
You have no faith in Ghostwire Tokyo?
Not a one.
Oh, I put my money on it in the fantasy league. I believe.
The game that keeps reminding me of is a game called Mach and X to the Dreamcast, and I don't really know why.
I kind of have a vague interest in it, but I'm like waiting to really know if that's good or not, because there's other games coming out that same day that I'm much more.
Unless you play as that producer lady, I'm not interested.
Well, you're definitely not going to play as her.
Yeah, exactly.
So Keith, you're big. You like the Evil Within a lot. How about the second one?
Love them both.
Love them both.
Love them both. Second one had a better storyline. Introduced a lot of elements from the first game, and they kind of closed up some things, but they also opened up more stuff. There's still a lot of things that just have not been resolved, and unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we're going to get another one.
Right. Oh, this is extremely off topic, but you were going to talk about Remnant in a particular way.
Oh no, I mentioned it. I just said that the co-op system in Remnant from the
the online should be like that.
Sure. Yeah.
It's functional.
It should be de facto. Should be de facto in games like Dark Souls and especially Elden Ring.
They may have changed it since the last time I played Remnant, but Remnant did used to limit you in terms of level. Like if you were too far apart in level, you could not play together at all. Definitely run into that.
I was super far, and I had friends jump in. I was
Okay.
super far.
That may be something that may just be something that they've changed.
Because the game would scale. I haven't played Remnant in a while, but the game would scale you down.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I remember too.
But what I'm looking forward to is you play Dark Souls or we'll keep it strictly Elden Ring. You die. Okay, let me run over to my pal and bring my pal back to life. Don't just go, oh, you die. You're now returning to your own world. No, we're trying to play together. Just let us stay together.
Yeah,
right.
That doesn't make sense.
I had this conversation with Mark a lot while we were playing Demon's Souls, and it did occur to me that all of those systems that I think are ingenious systems for encouraging cooperative play amongst randos are detrimental when you're actually trying to play with people that you know and like. Everything that is great to try and force you to make with random people bites you completely in the ass when you're trying to do something on purpose, Anyway.
It doesn't make sense when you should actually want people that know each other to play together. And
But From never wanted that, right? Like Demon Souls was always meant to be like an anonymous thing. It was almost like Journey in the philosophy that they had when they made Demon Souls back in the day. So
I mean, even anonymous, hey, somebody joined into my game and I want to keep going until I beat this boss. Let me keep going. Give me random. Let me try as much as I want to before I go. You know what? I can't beat this boss. Thanks for the game. Bye.
Yeah, no, I can only die on this hill so much.
Like a fighting game. A fighting game.
Or if you die, like the same thing. Like the partner can resurrect you.
Yeah, a fighting game is a perfect example. We keep fighting until one of us gives up, and we just go, all right, I quit. Bye.
Yep. So, Fallout New Vegas. I'm sure it'll happen. I mean, it has to happen eventually, right? It's a popular enough thing that regardless, at some point, somebody's going to slap that name on something.
Yeah. I mean, isn't Obsidian's already working on something? I mean,
they've got they have like 3 teams. So they got the Avowed team, the Outer Worlds 2 team, and then they have another team. They have the Grounded team.
They all need to work together and work on Avowed, so it's the best game ever.
I agree with that. I definitely want Avowed to do well, but I think if you're going to say that instead of having a Fallout 6, we're going to turn that into we're going to have Fallout New Vegas 2 first or something.
Nope, just finish Avowed. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Now they'll just keep making Fallout 76 a DLC forever.
Well, that and ESO will just keep happening.
Well, ESO is actually good.
That's going to be interesting. Microsoft is going to have Fallout 76, Fallout 76, the Elder Scrolls Online,
and WoW.
And WoW.
And WoW.
That's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting.
And they kind of have PSO too as well.
And it's still Sega's. Sega owns that. They're just bringing it over.
They just do a lot of partnerships with
Microsoft
for that.
So Microsoft is going to own 3 MMOs. That's interesting. One of them is going to get canceled. One of them is going to go away.
Later, WoW.
Probably won't be WoW, or they just tie. They're going to start tying WoW into Game Pass or something.
Phil Spencer already talked about things he wants to see with WoW, so I don't think WoW is going to go away.
Yeah, I think we could definitely see like Fallout. Maybe not. Fallout 76 has really gotten a lot of gotten a lot more people playing since they added it to Game Pass. So
I think that game is gone.
Yeah, I
think it's done.
We'll see. Well, another thing that's absolutely done regarding Bethesda is their game launcher.
Yay!
It's going away, and starting in April, it will now all their titles will move to Steam, and you can migrate your games over to a Steam account. I'm sure Mark and Keith are both happy about this, because if you guys can have all your things in one launcher, you are happy. So
always the same old song.
Epic needs to go next.
Epic's not going to happen though, so we can
Epic's too big, I guess. But
goodbye, go away.
I just feel like it's always some company decides they're going to have their own launchers. They've got a couple of free games to incentivize you. Everybody fucking hates it, complains it's not on Steam, and then eventually it moves to Steam.
Yeah, remember EA Origin?
No, it's the full circle. It's on Steam first, and then they take it off of Steam.
Oh yeah,
and then they put it back. We've got EA, who did that, and now Bethesda, and it's like,
you're right.
Hey, you're back.
It's
Welcome
true.
back.
I'm sure that
for Rocket League to go back to Steam.
The Steam Deck will go over nicely with that as well.
Yeah. Well, whenever people are actually going to get the Steam Deck, because
I'm now debating whether I need the Steam
Deck. It's out
Deck.
now. I mean, it officially is out now.
Yeah, but I'm not going to get mine till like Q2.
Right.
So right.
By then it'll hopefully be finished.
I'll have some time to think about whether it's worth it for Crusader Kings when Crusader Kings is actually coming to consoles.
Well, that's next month, so
yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see how that version is.
I think it'll be good.
I hope so. I desperately want to play that.
Well, I think that's how people are feeling about Street Fighter 6.
Yeah,
not really.
Well, I saw so much excitement just about the fucking logo. I saw so much debate.
That logo's so bad.
That logo is garbage.
That logo's awful.
Hey guys, we're about to reveal this game. We need a logo. Here you go.
I'm more
good.
excited about
Hey.
the other game they announced.
Hey, Adobe, give me a logo, please. It's like what?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Nice.
Yeah. I know you hate that Luke is in the trailer as well.
No. I just
yeah.
Everyone's favorite.
My thing is when they announced Luke and they were like, "He's the future of the series." I'm like, wait, what? What about these other characters? What about these other characters that have had long,
That's a terrible
outstanding,
logo.
mainstays in this series? What about the newer characters that you completely shit on? What about Makoto? What about Yin and Yang? Where are these other guys at?
Well, Yin and Yang are old characters, but
If you follow the timeline, because 3 is supposed to be the end, but they keep changing the timeline.
Where are the rival schools characters? Let's put those guys in this game.
Rivals what?
Rival
Project
schools.
Justice what?
I'm just very
Darkstalkers
excited.
who?
I'm just very excited to buy some sports equipment from this new sports equipment company called Street Fighter, because that's what the logo looks like to me.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It's awful.
It's
But
just-
No, my only take. Sorry.
And that was my thing.
Soundtrack.
And that was my thing. You didn't give us anything. Again, some gameplay. You gave us this crappy CG trailer. What the heck does it show me?
I was like,
Nothing.
oh well, Ryu has a beard. Oh my god.
If you would have came out with a small snippet of gameplay, just something,
I just
and
need
some
I just
music,
need,
people would have been happy.
show me that Chun-Li doesn't look like a goblin this time.
Oh, you mean so they have to go fix her again? I don't know. I don't know. You might be asking too much. She might not even be in the game. There you go.
Man.
Yeah, she'll be DLC, but you got to pay for her.
Didn't
Yeah,
Street
right.
Fighter
Always
3
in the
have only Ryu and Chun-Li, and that was about it?
Yep. And then it was Street Fighter 3, and then it was like, where are the characters? Then it was Street
Everyone
Fighter 3
complained,
Second Impact,
rightfully so.
or Double Impact, and then it was Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. So, yeah.
Hey,
it was,
at least they announced a Capcom Fighting collection. So
That's cool.
I'm
I'm always down to buy Puzzle Fighter again, Puzzle Fighter 2
Super
Turbo.
Gem Fighter and Puzzle Fighter. I mean, there's a bunch of so people have been complaining for a long time about they don't do enough with Darkstalkers. And,
they don't. They
so
don't.
They have finally answered that.
Having a compilation is cool, but why not make another one?
And that was the thing. They came up with the Darkstalkers collection like a while ago, and it did well. And everybody was thinking, okay, they did this, so they're going to bring out a new Darkstalkers. And Ono was like, no. Who's no longer with the company, by the way. So
why not make a new Power Stone or something fun?
Because that would require them to.
Or hell,
think.
if I'm gonna make a new one, just put Power Stone in this thing, Power Stone, Rival Schools, some of their weirder games as well.
Yeah, it would have been cool if they did add, stuff we don't get all the time in collections, but
And in Spike.
I guess there's Redder still. They got added. So there's that.
People, if they just bring out Ritter, people will be happy. They keep asking for that game.
Well, but they added that to this. So
yeah, after asking it for eons, literally eons. Don't know what the heck goes up with Capcom.
It's crazy with Capcom how much they want to remake games and remaster them and all that stuff. Like you'd think that they would be doing the Konami thing of let's just put out collections, tons of collections and stuff.
No, I'd rather them not do that. I like what they're doing, but they need to do it with more than just Resident Evil. That's the thing.
Well, I agree there. Yeah,
they tried it. They did it with Strider. They came out and redid Strider, and I don't know how well that game did.
It didn't do well at all.
And then they came out with Resident Evil, and it's like, we're going to keep doing, because it was like Resident Evil, then it was Resident Evil 0, and it was like, oh, and then they redid Resident Evil 1, and then they went all out with Resident Evil 2, which it's still a great remake. Then they came out with 3, which was, I don't know.
It's like Bionic Commando, and they brought that back, and the first one was cool, but then they did it twice more, and no.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know what's up, Capcom. I would love to have a remake of Darkstalkers. Trust me, please do that. But I don't really think Capcom really cares about any of their past fighting franchises
No.
outside of Street Fighter. They just don't care. They'll bring them
Yeah.
in for a theme, for costumes and background music and stages, but that's it. They're not going to full games. No.
Where's the new Techromancer? I mean, come on.
Well,
I mean, Cyberbots to myself.
That's the problem, is that I think they only really want to focus on things that they know are going to sell. And so they're not going to, if it's only going to be like the big Darkstalkers fans buying this remake, are they really going to do that? You know?
There is some justification there, but like they don't need to make it a big production as well. Like they just made like a nice looking Darkstalkers new game, like 2D would be fine. It doesn't need to be 3D, or it doesn't need to be look like Street Fighter 6 is going to.
Or if it's just a really great fighting game, maybe it will do well in the strength of being a really great fighting game.
Yeah, that was Street Fighter 5's problem. It wasn't a good fighting game.
Sadly.
I don't know.
Well,
like those Granblue, what are those
Granblue Fantasy?
Granblue Fantasy? The people who do the Persona fighting games, right? Those do pretty well, don't they?
Arc System Works, yeah. Well, they got like a bazillion different fighting
games.
On
Guilty Gear and
Guilty Gear, yeah, that's actually the series.
Dragon Ball Fighters.
Like, that last Guilty Gear game was popular, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So maybe is that like the style? Is that what you're thinking of, like the kind of 2.5D thing?
Yeah, or just that game is still in 3D. It's just in a 2D plane. But yeah,
right.
Even this 2D would be fine. But yeah, they don't want to do that. So
I don't know. I feel like there's potential. I'm not a fighting game guy, but it does seem like there's potential.
Just sell your other franchises to people that want to work on them. I mean, a good example, just an example, not exactly the same vein, is the Contra series. Contra series is an amazing game. It has a lot of history. People still love it. And you're like, oh, we're just going to sit on this. And it's doing nothing. Well, okay, give it to the developers who did Blazing Chrome, which was amazing. Well, it was pretty much Contra.
There was a tweet a few days ago, a rumor / tweet about, From Software bought Dino Crisis.
No, that was fake.
Yeah, I know that, but it's like, oh man, imagine if that was true. Like,
they got people hyped up, and it's like, hey guys, look, that's not even from
it's a
software.
fake account. Like it's
which shouldn't even exist. That shouldn't be a thing. That should be gone.
People just really love the idea of like rolling around and backstabbing dinosaurs. It would be pretty nice.
I can just imagine you died scenes of a dinosaur chopping you down. Speaking of which, there's a boss in Elden Ring that does that.
All right, so the last thing we'll talk about here, that's not really that surprising considering who it is, because they do this every time with a Western developed game in their own, publishing unit. Oh, it didn't sell well enough.
I just want to say the most ridiculous thing in this whole story. I don't know what it is for Square Enix's expectations. They're always like, we expected this Tomb Raider game to sell 8 million copies or whatever insane number they came up with. But like this time, they're talking about how the problem was that Crystal Dynamics just doesn't have enough experience with games as a service.
That was Avengers.
Yeah. Well, that was Avengers. Eidos is the one that did this one, but it's like,
oh, okay, sorry.
They don't read the room. Like Avengers, it's not doing well. Like this was an unproven game that you don't even get to play as all of the Guardians. It didn't demo well at E3. Like there was the hype came after that game released, not before.
That press conference at E3 was terrible with the voice actors talking about it. It's like, oh god, no.
The thing I want to know about this, though, is they said it didn't meet their expectations, right? What were your expectations? You don't release the information. So as far as we know, you could be lying. And like you said, they didn't read the room. A lot of people were very anxious about Guardians of the Galaxy, despite it being an amazing game, because Avengers left a sore taste in everybody's mouth. And they were afraid to touch it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
I imagine their expectations are like, we expect this to sell like Final Fantasy.
Well, in the past, they've actually given numbers. I wonder if they decided not to give numbers anymore because they got so much.
No, they will whenever they do their
Oh, the
whatever,
quarterly
quarterly reveal or whatever.
That'll be fun. Then we'll find out, that it was some insane thing that.
This game was weird because it dropped price so dramatically so quickly.
Yeah, I mean,
Plus,
I think that's
of the Galaxy. It wasn't.
I think
Avengers.
that's also they're disappointed with that. It's that the sale, putting the game on sale, still didn't like uptick the numbers well enough. And it's like, again, the word of mouth came after. Like the awards came after. Like, it wasn't until November, December when people actually started really paying attention to this game, and then people were talking about, oh man, this game's great, the story's great. Like, you got to give it time to sell, and then, unfortunately, it is a story-based game. It doesn't have this like Avengers where you're going to keep playing it. So some people may have just, they said, oh, it's only like an 8 or 10 hour game, and maybe that turns some people off. I mean, I don't know, but I hate the fact that they made an actually really good freaking Marvel game, and then this is what we're going to, instead of lauding the fact that it's great and then it won these awards, you're just sitting there going, oh, it didn't meet our expectations in sales. And it's like, oh, come on,
I mean, what was the last really good Marvel game before this? Captain America?
Spider-Man.
Well,
yeah, I guess Spider-Man. If you can, yeah, right.
I guess aside from Spider-Man, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, maybe.
Nope, that did not do well.
Well, no, not that so well, but it like that it was. People liked it.
You mean like quality or sales? Because I mean, I actually like Marvel Avengers too, but if you mean like sales,
well, I think you mean Ultimate Alliance 3, right, on the Switch.
Well, no, that I don't know about that game being good.
Okay, so you're going further back because that Captain America game that was basically just Arkham Asylum was pretty good.
Yeah,
the one where you just Arkham Asyluming around.
It was like Captain America, based on the first movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I guess Spider-Man. You're right. I forget that Spider-Man is Marvel now.
Yeah. But like Spider-Man's almost in its own class because of
Insomniac
making it.
That Wolverine game.
Yeah,
it wasn't awful.
That was
right.
That was
the Wolverine game.
That was a little earlier. That one just needs. They just need to like remaster that and put it back out.
Well, they're making a new one, so they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would love that. That's a game that if that'd be an amazing like bonus. Like put it out for like $15-$20 or something, or put it out as a bonus to tack on with part 2, because people need to play that first Wolverine game. That's still one of the best like action adventure games ever made.
I feel that way about Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
The first one, yeah.
Yes. That game doesn't get.
It's too bad the 360 one was not good.
Yeah.
That's how did you stand on Prototype, Mark, since that was kind of the spiritual successor?
Yeah, I mean it was jankier, but I still beat it. I mean it had some like harder stuff going on, but I thought it was fine. I didn't play Infamous though at that time, so I have nothing to judge against.
Yeah, they both were flawed in their own way.
And well, hopefully Square-Enix at some point doesn't like take that as a total loss to not do another.
I look forward to Crystal
or...
Dynamics going solo again.
There was rumors that people were trying to buy them. Like Microsoft or somebody was like just trying to buy them separately. And then didn't Square Enix want to sell off their whole Western unit at one point? They were trying to find somebody that wanted to take on those studios because they were just they weren't, doing well. It's I could see somebody want to take those on and try to do something with them. But I think that's it for the show this week. Thank you to Keith and Jens for being guests and hyping us all up about Elden Ring if you weren't hyped up enough already. Just, know that there are the train keeps rolling with review season or games coming out, big games coming out season, because next Friday we have another slew of big games coming. Along with just those big games, you have the smaller ones like Shadow Warrior 3, Far Changing Tides, Helix 2, and then you have Gran Turismo 7 and Triangle Strategy both coming out the same day. So there you go. If your wallet wasn't crying enough, I'm sure now you have more decisions to make. And you got Balance Fall in there as well.
I can't even buy Gran Turismo 7. I didn't buy it on Amazon, and they're sold out. So
really,
yeah, they're sold out.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you could probably go to a store if you wanted to.
Are you trying to get a particular edition of it?
I wanted the collector edition, but that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed with Gran Turismo 7 because usually the anniversary or collector edition usually come with a toy car or something, and this time they're like, no, there's nothing.
It's like just art book, and
it's not even an art book. It's a steelbook case and some extra credits in the game, and that is it.
Okay, so it's really just a steelbook edition.
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's a far cry from what they usually give you for their big things. It's really frustrating. I don't know why they did that.
Where's the $800 special edition that comes with a cockpit?
Right?
Well, I mean, yeah. Sorry.
That would be interesting if they had something like that, because I know some people would buy it. I would buy it.
Have they ever done a special edition of those with a little peripheral,
No.
like a little wheel or a pedal or something?
No. They'll work with like Fantech or something to have this really extravagant steering wheel, but no, they won't do anything like that. No.
That'd actually be useful.
I have no faith in that game whatsoever.
Because like Gran Turismo 6, they came with a little toy car. I think with 5 came with a toy car as well. I know 4 did, but this one is just meh, nothing.
They just want you to be loving it on the PS5. That's it, or
PlayStation, or PlayStation 4.
Right.
I still feel some kind of way about that, but that's just me.
Well, Keith, is anything you want to promote or?
Yeah, you definitely need to go check out Elden Ring if you like Dark Souls games, and if you don't like Dark Souls games, then please don't buy the game because you won't like it. You'll be mad and you'll curse the name Elden Ring forever. We don't want that. So either ask a friend or watch some videos and decide for yourself. But if you're a casual gamer, and I'm not saying that you need to get good, but if you're a casual gamer and things like this aren't your game, you don't like it, please don't buy it. You're not going to be happy.
Yeah, don't get mad on Twitter about the fact that it exists.
Yeah,
just
don't complain that it's too hard and things like that, because
it needs to have an easy mode. Because I saw the very exact thing that you were talking about, Keith, on Twitter, of people going through the open world, and then as soon as they get to that first boss and it whoops their ass, they start getting mad and saying that there needs to be an easy mode and all this other stuff, and that they don't care about regular gamers or the gamers that aren't hardcore fans of the. It's like, look, just because you got hyped with all the reviews and all the hoopla and you bought this game, it doesn't mean that they needed to make this for you.
Yeah, I can understand the frustration, because it's like you see that there's this amazing experience out there that you can't participate in or whatever. So I get it, but
FOMO is a killer.
Yeah,
don't do it. Other than that, play some games, have some fun, be cool to each other, and check me out on Twitter at Shellhaxer. I'm always want to talk gaming and tech and help people out, and just talking random things, except for politics. Don't get me started about politics. I hate talking about politics.
I purposely did not start the show that way, but obviously all of our hearts and cares are with the people in Ukraine, what's going through right now. So unfortunately, that we were having to deal with this terrible thing, and it's awful that that's even going on at the moment. But
that's what happens when you have monsters in charge and you don't take care of the monsters.
Yeah, that's gonna. I don't want to jump in that can of worms, but go check out Keith Shadow Haxer. Go check out the Outerhaven. wonderful site that the whole crew does a lot of great work, and should get more praise from all the video game publishers out there, including the ones that choose not to work with Keith and the crew. And of course, you can go check out Jens at Aperture Silence, Marc at Humanity Plague. I'm at W10 Sean, and you can go and check out that w2net.com or lastwordongaming.com as well. And we will see y'all later.
Later.
Thanks, Sean.